Emmanuel.
Good evening. My name is Anne Joseph. Welcome to the Church and the State.
This is where we balance government policies and politics against biblical standards.
Yes, and it's so happy to see you again.
Happy to see you.
Sky blue.
Sky blue.
Oh, yeah.
And we did have communication about this today.
I know.
You're well?
I'm good.
How was your week then?
It has been awesome. I'm so happy to be together with all of us to see what is happening in the state and also in the church.
Of course, absolutely.
Yes.
Remember, our social media platforms is Overflowing Wisdom with John CW on Facebook. On YouTube is John CW, and you are live also on Spirit Television. We're also going to have a chance also to get to our social media platforms and pick your questions and queries. So let's keep the conversation flowing. In studio with us, we also have?
Yeah, we have our live audience, people who have a chance to interact with the expert, or rather the guest of the day, on the current issues that we'll be tackling. As you join them in sending your queries, as my co-hosts have said. And also we're going to have a segment that we call the table of balance. This is where the expert comes in to balance these matters, these policies, with the biblical truth. Because we have always said, as he taught us, there's what is true and there's what is truth. So the truth is what is written in the Bible. We come in the volume of the book. And so after that, we're going to have the news segment where we understand what is happening all over the world in sports, in the church, all that just prepared to have you engaged and informed about the current state of the church and the state.
Absolutely, and part of the things we're going to look up today, that is in the course of the week that has happened, is we've seen the issue on labor export. We've also seen a case on Duta, that is on the Vietnam case.
Yeah.
Part of the things that have highlighted our week today has also been the removal of the mathematics subject, that is from our curriculum.
Yeah.
We've also seen the president and hosting Islamic leaders because, our brothers from the other side are in their sessions of Ramadan. And part of that has been coming up, the central visits. That is, the president is going to visit. This and many more things we're going to discuss, but more on what has happened, whatever we've listed above, and that is going to happen in the table of balance.
That's right.
And who do we expect?
Yes, and tonight, as we said, we have the guest, the expert of the day, and he is a teacher of the word. His name is Teacher John CW, a mentor to many, a husband, a father of 3 children, and many more around the globe. He is also a global leader. And by the way, when we talk of leadership, you remember last week we were talking about who is a politician, who is a leader, and he gave a lot of, description of who a leader is. And I remember yesterday when we had the financial education, and people were going home, and not everybody had means, and he had to ensure that everybody is at his, doorstep. So when we talk about leadership, it's not only when you see him doing state of the nation. No, it is start from the homestead, from the people who are of the household of faith. We feel the impact and we appreciate his effort in who he is. And also he is a government advisor who is being consulted not only in this nation, but around the world to give his wisdom concerning governing a nation. And he is also the CEO of Melino Contractors and also the founder of Zilomon Group of School. So you see, he has diverse, abilities and knowledge and wisdom to help us tonight in the topic of discussion. Help us to welcome Mwalimu Teacher John CW. You're welcome, sir.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Very well.
Karibu.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Why did you tell me it's a blue day? Is it a coincidence?
No, we were in the spirit in the day of...
So I'm the only one that was not in the spirit.
No, we understand.
You probably had ascended higher.
Yeah, you are higher.
Yeah, your pay has How do you do it?
Probably one of our team members can come in and help with that.
Okay. Yeah. So it's blue day.
Sky blue. Yeah.
Sky blue.
I didn't know it was sky blue. I just knew it was blue like you. Then she said sky blue.
Oh, okay.
I just knew it was blue.
Like you guys had not planned?
No.
Really?
Not really.
Mtokelezea tu.
Yata pia nilishtuka.
When I grow up, I want to be you guys, man.
No, but as we said, you are in a higher dimension as we are just learning.
Yeah, where I was from, it was mixed colors.
Yeah.
So I was not, there was no dominant color, so I made sure I mixed all the colors I saw.
You're well, though.
I am very well.
Your week has been fine?
Yeah, very fine. Changing the world by the message of the cross, being the most supreme message of all time. There are so many messages, I hope you know. Muhammad had a message. Krishnas have a message.
Yeah.
Buddhists have a message. Hindus have a message. And then the main person, and his name is Jesus Christ. So I've been up and about with only his message. And it is impacting life. You know what's sad? We made his message to win on Sunday.
Oh, no.
When his message is kingdom. It's supposed to affect governments, it's supposed to affect marriages, it's supposed to affect institutions, ministries, businesses, ideas, callings. But somewhere down the line, but we are in Christ. We are being redeemed into the truth of his word. So, yeah.
Amen. I love it when you talk about the kingdom message affecting the world and the Christian thing or the gospel.
Yes.
Not being relevant just on Sunday. And we hope that God is going to help us.
He will.
To become that which he has intended. Yeah, maybe to start off.
Yes,
there has been persecutions in many nations, especially in Asian parts of Christians.
Okay.
People sometimes willing that they might have maybe a government that can allow them maybe worship freely and all those things. So we had a discussion last week, and this is a question that came up. And we were trying to bring balance because of how the nation or the heads of state and these government leaders are coming into churches. And the question was, if those people who are in such nation feel like people are feeling there's a lot of pressure when these leaders come to church, what would be their view? Would they feel these people, what we are wishing to have, they have it and they are trying? What message would you have to such people?
Water is good only when you're thirsty, but that same water can drown you. So it's not the fact that there is always balance. The nations that have such leadership coming to churches, or the nations that are desiring such kind of leadership to even think about the church.
Yeah.
So the balance is the same water that will quench your thirst in a minute from probably ago is the same water that can kill you. I think the nature of that question should be a stricken balance. People have no problem with leaders coming to church. In fact, I love it. I love to see presidents in churches. I love to see presidents giving. I love to see projects in church, thriving and everything like that. I equally believe that everything done out of its time is poison. You understand that, right? Everything done out of its time, it's poison. And that's why there's a scripture in the Bible that says, in his right time, he makes things beautiful. So everything that will succumb to its beauty has to be done in its right time. So when you do anything outside its time, it loses its morality, it loses its context, it loses its value, it loses its peace and such kind of things. So I think it's just a question of balance, whereby those that don't have they seek to have, but equally speaking, those that have, they should learn to keep. How do we keep what we have? So when you remove balance, the same thing that's a blessing without balance is a curse.
Yeah, talking of balance, the question is there a role of the state in the church? We have been talking about the role of the church in the state's affairs. According to the Bible, is there a place where the state is supposed to intervene in the matters church? Now, do we have the role of the state when it comes to the church? Like, for example, a case study of what happened in Rome. You remember the way there was Christian persecution during the eras of those emperors. And there came this emperor who allowed Christianity to be the state's religion, leading to the formation of Roman Catholic, the universal church, as it were, in the beginning. But what transpired after that, we see the church, which was powerful in persecution, becoming weaker when they were allowed to come and, merge with the state. So the question is there a place for the state to come and do matters or bring matters in the church?
Completely.
Okay.
Completely. The state plays a very major role. Sorry, forgive my manners. Did I say hello to you? Hello to you. Yeah. The state plays a very major role in seeing to it that the church fulfills its mandate. This is a kingdom of kings and priests. So the aerial view of the message should have two components involved. Just like when you want to achieve water, there are two components that are involved, which is HO2, hydrogen squared, and oxygen. Then you achieve the water. When you remove either one of those two components, you will not have water, but you'll have another type of component. You'll have oxygen operating on its own. Then you have hydrogen operating on its own. So in this context, in order for us to have an effective report globally, think about the church as hydrogen, and then think about the government as oxygen, or vice versa, it doesn't matter. But if these two principles will come together, then you're going to have water, and you know what water does. Water quenches thirst. So the thirst of the nation can be quenched when these two arms begin to function together. You can well attest that there is a king that rose, and then he ordered that the temple be rebuilt. So without that king, there is an order that might not appear that will give authority to the temple to be rebuilt. So what's the part of the state to the church? The context of rebuilding. Anytime Satan has messed up with the church, you will need a very godly king if the church will take root and take ground to build back an effective part of, or rather a climate that can be able to affect the globe. If you have a wicked king, it's not that the word of God can be stopped, but it can be delayed. God's word can never be stopped. But a man can stand in between. For example, you take the case of Moses. Moses is told by God, let my people go. The question is, on the first day that he told Pharaoh, let my people go, were the people released? No. What about the second time? No. What about the fifth time? So you can see a delay of the purposes, or rather of what God wants to do in that particular area. There can be a delay, even though that delay God already knows and it's part of timing, but it can be a delay. And so when the state is godly, one of the aspects of time redemption, the Bible says redeeming the times for the days are evil. One of the advantages of a godly throne is time redemption. The understanding of saving time, doing the right things, fighting corruption, fighting ungodliness, those are very many advantages that the church has if it has a leader in power that understands the purpose of Christianity in authority.
You started off at a very good point. You've been pointing, where does the state then come into the church? And time in, time out, we've been seeing how, of course, the church is supposed to take in the
Yes,
state,
yes.
and for once we've seen how the state should come in the church. But just to come to matters state,
Yeah.
and then to bring matters state closer to home. I like the fact that we always meet on a Thursday. Sorry, our director, can you work on this? We can hear some echo on our end. Thank you. Thank you, very good. To bring back now matters state and what has been happening currently in the state. And I like the fact that we have this chance, and being a vision carrier, you brought, I mean, the idea on the church and the state where weekly we can have a moment to see and balance policies and politics that are happening, not only in our country, but also in other nations. And it would be wrong of me also not to highlight part of the weekly agendas that have happened. And one of the core issues that we've seen labor export being happening in this country. And that's why I say, sorry, allow me to divert and come back to the current state. And not only labor export, it being an issue of us taking the best brains to other countries to go work. But it has narrowed down to also where we've seen someone who, during the week, it was said that the level of education was not probably a higher level of education, but she was sent and she went to a different country and she was caught at an airport in Vietnam. Part of the things or cases we see in labor exports. One of them also in other countries we've seen people are taken as, how do you call them, house helps and are treated badly. But this week we saw one where she traveled and then something was placed in her purse. She said she didn't know what it was. And we saw the Vietnam government taking her in, and her name was Duta, and we've seen how they wanted to hang her. Coming back, there have been an uproar in the country also concerning the issue on that, and some of the citizens say probably that person knew what she was doing, and it was rightful that whatever case that she was handled, it was to be handled that way. Others are saying, as a country, we should allow or go fight for her and bring her back or have diplomatic relations. It is only in the church and the state where we have a chance to balance government policies against biblical standards. And this raises the question, is this an issue where you would feel it is right, of course, if anyone was found with such substances, they say they were drugs in a different country, are allowed to be taken and hanged? Or is it an issue where who raises the stone first, or is it an issue where bring the person back in the country she was in, bearing in mind they say she was only a class 8 dropout and she didn't know? What could be your thought on the current issue happening? And that aside, we also see the level of labor export in this country has really increased. We see the CS of labor, Dr. Alfred Mutua, still sending people outside. We see thousands.
243,000 annually.
We've been seeing them actually. This is for the first time I see a lot of people. It's even publicized. They do some PR stunts on it and they show us on the airport and they say these guys are going. What is your issue first on the labor export that you're facing in this country? And then narrowing it down to the issue that has happened this week on a lady known as Duta.
Well, diplomatically speaking, think about tea is grown in Kenya. Major export goods, or rather services. You have tea, you have horticulture.
Yes, flowers.
Yeah, they make up to around 34% of the GDP, right?
Yeah.
Gross, which is gross domestic production. And these are some of the major goods that make up to that. And so you find that the import and export of nations create a rapport. You find that what's not in Kenya is in Rwanda, or is in Uganda, or is in China, or whatever. And so the trading platform on the global scale, whereby a nation trades with a nation depending on the goods, becomes part of the advantages of the nation. So you can find that either you are overproducing beyond the demand of your nation. So then the law of supply comes in, where you can supply a different nation with that. I have no problem with that. The problem comes in when you are supplying what is still needed locally, domestically, right? So you find that you are exporting tea and then denying your own citizens, and then you find all homes, or rather 95% of homes, they are using chocolate, necessarily because there is no tea, simply because you exported it, to the point whereby you are trying to look for money for the nation. There is no balance there. But if there is an excess of a product that is locally produced, it is wise for a leader to look for market elsewhere to be able to sell the product that is locally produced, but does not have, the nation does not have the capacity to absorb all its production. Underline that statement, all its production. So what the nation is not able to absorb, then foreign nations come in and they participate in buying and selling.
That is surplus.
That's surplus, exactly. But in the event whereby you are exporting labor, the question we should ask ourselves is, has Kenya as a nation exhausted the labor? Have we exhausted the labor? Have we exhausted 243,000 people?
Yes, the target is 1 million annually.
The target is 1 million annually. So when you have 1 million people leaving the nation, let's assume we are approximately 54 million approximately, or maybe depending on what the current graph looks like. When you export 1 million labor force, what part of the nation are they coming from? Number one, those parts of the nation where they are coming from, does that part, or rather the community, or rather the county, or rather the region, does that region need what it's being exported? So if we have exhausted the region, then we can now look at exporting labor, because now that is what you call excess. Then you can look at it from that angle. But unfortunately, where Kenya is standing, and it's not just a Kenyan problem, I think it's an African problem per se, we don't know what to do with manpower. And by the way, the highest form of power, apart from God, the highest form of power is God. The second highest form of power is man.
Not KPLC.
It's not KPL.
Is it the political people power?
It's just the human nature. It's the human part of power, what you call manpower. It is the power that is generated by men. For example, let's assume you want to push a car and you are alone. You will notice that there is a power you need, but as you keep adding men, you keep saving power, because now the amount of power you need to push that car, as men are coming in, you begin to see the power of manpower. And so many people, especially on African continents, they have so much power, but they don't know how to use it. And this is where slave trade came in. Slave trade came in back in the days is because they knew that the highest form of power on this earth, separate from God, is manpower. And if the one that can have many people has a lot of power, so they can either do a lot of farming, they can do a lot of, think about whatever it is that there is. So when you export the manpower, the question you should ask yourself, are you exporting because you don't know what to do with that power? Or you're exporting because power is in excess? So the question I want to point out to you, I know I shouldn't be asking you, which among the two? Is Kenya exporting manpower because it doesn't know what to do with manpower, or it's exporting manpower because we are in excess?
And sir, do you want us to answer that question, or do we pose the question on our social media platform?
I would like anyone to answer.
Allow us to take us a short break. We will be back after the break. Remember, our social media platform is Overflowing Wisdom with John CW on Facebook. On YouTube is John CW. Also live on Signet TV. The question is Kenya exporting labor because we have excess manpower, or are you exporting labor because we have nothing to do with the power? Engage with us. We'll be back after the break to continue with the Tale of Balance. Do not touch that dial. This is the Church and the State.
Hola, hola, mi hermanas and mi hermanos in Christ Jesus. I hope you are well. I'm well. As you can see, man, we're having fun. A quick one, yeah? I'm here to invite you for the Bootcamp Edition 3, starting from the 6th to the 12th of April. This very year, this closing, this holiday. So I'm welcoming everyone. Bro, it doesn't matter where you are, wherever you are. So as long as you can make it, just come. The charges are cheap. We're doing it for the family, man, 1,500. So I think that's affordable. Everyone can afford that one. So the venue is right here at Share the Love Center, STLC. As you know, good vibes. You're not ready for the teachings. If you miss the last one, you can't afford to miss this one, yeah? There'll be a lot going on, crazy teachings, a lot of them, man. Have you heard our bishop teach? No, you're not ready. You're not. So don't miss out, man. There's my plea, an invite from you, from me to you, everywhere you are. Karibuni sana. Welcome, everybody!
He's here. He's setting women on fire. Oh, you don't understand what is happening. It's a factory resetting. It's back to Eden. Rearrangement of capacity, understanding the assignment, understanding the objective, understanding the mandate. I want to know who I am. Jesus, help me. Oh, Yakade, random mediales, Zankum Prevelia Kaya, Sankunte Riadesha, Inkakambadia Velito Baya. Mother, pray. Oh, Mother, arise and pray. Arise, Mother, pray. Arise. The fruit of your womb is blessed. Plead for the womb. Plead for your child, mothers. Oh, mothers, arise.
Church and the state. And allow me just give a minute to our live audience, because we didn't give you a minute to just say hi, your name, where you're from, just a brief introduction. You'll have a chance to ask questions later. I saw our expert had a chance of saying hi. So let me give you this chance to say hi a bit. Yeah. We'll start with you, sir.
Thank you. My name is David June. I'm from Ethiopia. I'm a trainer in the Department of Medical Sciences. Pleasure to be part of this audience. And I'm learning from our teacher. Karibu.
I hope by the next time when you have a chance to ask a question, we'll give you some coffee to help with your voice.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Michelle Njega. I'm from Nairobi. I'm a student, a diploma graduate in IT, currently doing computer science. And it's an honor to be part of the live show. Yeah.
Karibu, Michelle. Yes, sir.
Name is Kuria Kenjeku. I'm a member of Larry University and College Student Association. I'm also in the health space, a theater technician, research space, and I'm looking forward to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Karibu, sir. And what do we have on that end? There was a question that was posed.
Yeah, there was a question from the expert. I love what Faith is saying from YouTube. The truth is, it's like we don't know what to do with the manpower we have. Really sad state of the affairs. I know it's sad. Back to you.
You say we don't know. The Kenyans are saying, you pose the question to us, and then we ask them, and they are saying, so that we don't judge with.
Believe me, China, if you remove half of China, you remove half of its capability.
If you remove half of its China, like the citizens of China?
You remove half of its capability. There is, and I'm not claiming, of course you have nations like Qatar, where you have, a limited number of citizens, but still doing great things. But my emphasis is basically on, if you have manpower, you have a very high form of power globally. It gives you the advantage. Like India would negotiate with several nations because of the manpower. China would negotiate with several nations because of the manpower. The military unit of China, just go study it. It's in millions. So you would not really want to come against such a nation. globally, I mean, when we come back home to Africa, just speaking about Africa as a whole, you have nations like Nigeria. Nigeria has over 200 million people. I hope you know.
Yes.
Over 200 million people. But what's the difference between Nigeria and US? They probably have almost the same numbers. US has the almost same population.
Yes.
What's the problem? The problem is we don't know what to do with manpower. And so, coming back to your question, I am afraid that our export of manpower means better to foreign nations rather than we as Kenya. I mean, if we could have retained those doctors, would we have better healthcare systems? If we could have retained those engineers, would we have better mechanical systems? If we would have retained those students, would we have better educational systems? So we should focus on containing our people so that we can contain their knowing at home and build home, rather than being happy of exporting people. Like, look at, I mean, try and Google how many Kenyan nurses are working abroad, and some of the most excellent nurses, where they are coming from. They are coming from Kenya. Yet you have a medical system within Kenya. I saw which county they are striking now. The medical field are striking. There is a county where now the medical, there are no even doctors on ground. So is it because of a failed system that we are exporting our people, or is it because we have exhausted opportunities and so we are exporting what we don't need? I'm afraid we are exporting what we need because we simply don't know what to do with it. And other nations know what to do with it, and that's why they are welcoming us, because they know the power of manpower.
Or, sir, or then is it a question of we are not compensating the manpower equally enough or able enough, such that the manpower feels, myself as a doctor, I'd rather be where I'll be compensated equally or better, and shift and go offer my services at a different place? Is it that the country then does not have capacity to compensate these people? Because even, it's funny how in other countries, the richest are probably businessmen. You are a CEO of a few and founder of few companies. In one way or the other, the richest people are people in business in other countries. But in our country, the richest people are not people in business or the people who studied, or doctors or engineers. They are politicians. Now, is it a case of the country cannot compensate these people well enough, and these people are saying, I'd rather go and offer my services where I feel well compensated?
Have you checked what I call the Mbadi report? Mbadi was on TV.
Yes, yes.
Did you see how much money Kenya is spending on salaries?
Yes, recurrent expenditures.
Yes. Did you see how much it is?
Yes.
How does a nation, by the way, in my view, I would push for only 14 counties.
Mbadi had a statement like that and said he would rather reduce also the counties because we have counties that have governors and deputy governors who don't know what to do.
It's unnecessary.
And CSS.
It's unnecessary. Because if you can imagine a nation spending $1 trillion probably, or over like approximately 900 billion on salaries.
Yes.
And I hope you know there are ghost workers on that salary. The biggest percentage is on ghost workers. Why would you have so many workers? Do you know what $1 trillion can do if it is put back into the economy?
So,
you have an idea? So what does that mean? Even if you are going out because the compensation is superior, it still comes back to the context. We don't know what to do with manpower. We have so many graduates and we don't know what to do with them. We have so many young guys as IT gurus. We don't know what to do with them. Do you know Dubai has a minister of AI?
Yeah, AI.
Like a ministry that deals with AI. You understand? A ministry, what does that tell you? They believe in young people. If you bring anything to do with that in Kenya, I mean, the Kenyan government doesn't even believe in young people. How do I know? How do you put a former governor to run the Ministry of IT? Are you telling me you have exhausted campuses, no one competent? You have exhausted young people that have graduated. No one competent. There is no space for our people because we don't know what to do with the young people. We don't know what to do with the educated people. So we only know what to do with people when it's election period. And this time around, by the way, I want to say this to all leaders. I've seen a lot of unnecessary conversations. Bear with me. Unnecessary conversations. This coming election will not be election as usual.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be election as usual. Young people are going to give you a run. A run. A run for your kind of politics.
Yes.
Because people have realized that we are so... Do you know, I've happened to travel so many African nations. When a Kenyan speaks English, there is no nation in Africa that has a better English-speaking citizen than Kenya. If a South African will speak English, there is something.
Yeah.
If a Nigerian will speak English, there is something. If a Rwandese will speak English, when it comes to Kenya, the way we communicate, our capacity to communicate is so high. This is why so many people don't know how to do it. As if a Kenyan businessman communicates business, it will be so high that we will not know what to do with the business. So what will you do? Other nations that want such kind of communications, they will absorb our people. Not necessarily because we have exhausted home, but home does not know
what to do with us.
Yeah.
So then the doctor will leave for greener pastures. Why not make it green at home? So that the doctor doesn't see a need of leaving. And if a nation can be able to, if we can lose 2-3 billion a day, if that money is channeled back to economy, do we need to export any doctor?
No.
Won't we build referral Kenyatas in every county?
Well.
Won't we? Do you know what 2 billion can build? 2 billion Kenya shillings. But the people, and that's why I've said, even if it's compensation, people will still walk away and you can't blame them. So you see our young daughters going to Lebanon.
Yes.
And if you have seen, some of them are being beaten by their bosses, which is something that it's absurd. So me as a leader, assuming I'm a leader in the nation, I would not be saying, yeah, it's you that went there. I would be feeling sad and I'll be looking for opportunities to create home jobs whereby you will now go to Lebanon by choice, not by force. But right now, people are being exported by force because we don't know what to do with them. Now, look at the case of the lady there's a case of a lady who was about to be hanged. Nduta, right?
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
I heard you asking that question. Vietnam has no problem hanging her. No. That is the law of their land. If there is a diplomatic way where Kenya can come on board, then Kenya can come on board. But people should not blame Vietnam. For example, the law of Vietnam is not the law of Kenya. Jesus says, whose face is on the coin? So give to Caesar. So there is what belongs to Caesar. And one of the things that belongs to the Caesar is power, law. He holds the law in his hands. So if the law of Vietnam says, if anyone is found with this, and they are taken through the justification process, underline that. There has to be a system through which they are taken through the process to justify whether what they have, it was either put on their bag illegally or they came with it from Kenya. Because if I was the minister in charge of that, I would scrutinize the airport. I want to know on that day when she was traveling, where did she pass? Who checked her bag? What is the record? Because when you are traveling, I've traveled a little bit. When you pass your bag through those sensors, it literally shows what you have in your bag. If she came with that thing from Kenya, how did she pass? So this is not a game, because that means we are claiming that we have an incompetent airport. And that's very dangerous for Kenya, because Kenyan airport is one of the best airports in Africa, at least, even though it rains.
The leaking roof.
The leaking roof
airport.
Yeah. Kenya, if you travel in African nations, you will say thank you to Kenya. Kenya has everything. The only thing Kenya lacks is only one thing: management. Kenya lacks nothing. Talk of minerals, talk of governance, talk of ideas, talk of youth, talk of power, talk of whatever you want to talk of, it's in this nation. So the question you should ask yourself, it makes it very incompetent. And it shows how we have an incompetent structure, security structure in our airport, assuming that is, she came with whatever she came with from this place. So if I was the minister in charge, I would personally follow that case, because I am saving the image of the nation. So I would want to know who was on duty on that day. Where did she pass? Which flight did she take? Where exactly was she arrested? Was she arrested immediately she landed? It means they knew. So someone set them up.
Yeah.
Because you have to have checked her for you to know. So when you look at all those factors, Vietnam has no problem with what they brought out as they want to hang her. That is their law, and you have to respect their law. But according to the Kenyan system, in my diplomatic view, Kenya should come on board diplomatically and try to settle this issue. First of all, to say, even if Vietnam is going to go ahead and do that, please do it because it is true. But don't do it because she is found. Let the matter be taken to court. Let the matter be vetted. Let there be a bench that has the knowledge of, And by the way, it's very easy to find the truth. It's very easy to know where she came from with those issues, assuming they are. But let there be a legal way of trying her, not just taking her directly to kill her. That cannot be the solution. So Kenya should come on board not only to save her, but to fire all those that are putting our nation at jeopardy, to prove that we have an incompetent airport. Do you know what that means to drug cartels? You are telling us that if a lady like that can pass with no money, what about a billionaire? What about drug barons in this nation? It means that it has been happening.
And also coming in.
It means other people are coming in. So this is a matter of national importance, and the government should make sure that that matter is followed, not to castigate a nation because in their law they say you should hang a person. That's their law, and you should respect their law. And by the way, I need to tell this to people that travel. Please be careful. Please be very careful. Things happen in airports. I've seen a lot of things in the airport. As I've traveled, I have seen, trust me, I've seen a lot of things on airports. But I can equally tell you, it's very easy to know whether she was involved or she was not involved. If these two nations collaborate and work together, we can actually bring out the bigger cartel. Me, I would be after the bigger cartel. Those who allow such things to pass beyond her. Because she's just like, she's just a carrier of something. She's going to die.
She's a pawn in the game of chess.
Yes, she's going to die for the bigger number. So if it was me, I would be after the bigger number. Assuming true she had, who was she taking it to? I would follow that more than I follow her. So you don't need to just kill her, because again, you are showing as if you are trying to cover something. Because by killing her, assuming that's the situation, or maybe she's in it, you have killed someone that could have told you how the system works. But again, if it's not true, you'd have killed an innocent person. Try the person and settle for the big fish. Use her to get to the big fish, if it's true. And if it's not true, free her and let her continue to serve and provide for her family.
So what you are saying is the issue is bigger than this individual code.
No, the issue is bigger.
So it has exposed some of the leakages that are in the government, from the travel agencies to the
and she could be a sacrificial lamb.
Exactly. Do you know how many passes you have to pass at the airport? The first one is the main one where we all say goodbye to people.
Yes.
It's down there. You remove your shoe, whatever. Then you climb up. Then you go to the second one. That second one is very, very hard. Very, very hard. So to pass two checkpoints, I don't think it's that. It's not a coincidence. Assuming that is it. So for me, I settle for two things. Either it's not true, she didn't come from this place with it, or if it's true, someone somewhere has been doing bigger business, and we should use her to get to the bigger person, not to castigate her to die for the bigger person. That's my view.
You know, I like, before I take over, you have a question. I like the point. I was expecting you to say the youths are going to give the politicians a run for their money. But you didn't say a run for their money. You said a run for their kind of politics.
Yes.
Meaning, normally I was expecting a run for their money in this election. But a run for their kind of politics digs something deeper, or an understanding of what we are expecting that is going to happen in this country. Yeah. And a run for their kind of politics will mean it's not about who has more cash that is going to win this time round. It's not about who dresses more elegantly. Yeah. It's not about who gives more promises, changing places to New York or London or things like that is going to check the seats this time around. I think we are expecting a total overhaul. Because again, it is the same leadership and government structure that we have, that we have seen that also in the course of week. Funny roles and policies passing around, like the removal of a subject like maths. I mean, mathematics has been something that we grew up, and it's very important for one to understand numbers. But even passing a policy or saying we're going to remove mathematics in the syllabus is quite among the funny things that we've seen this government has done. Despite other things, like last week we talked about 1 million chapatis, the other day we talked about turning Eastlands to New York or London. I mean, for me, it's interesting that you could see a perspective of there's going to be a change for the kind of politics that is going to happen.
And that's why I said intentionally, anyone that thinks it's going to be business as usual, you are in it for a shock. Any leader, from the president down to the women rep, MCAs, anyone, any position that requires a vote, in simple English, it should not be taken for granted that the one that is looking for that vote will think that this time around it will pass. It will not be politics as usual. We are entering into a space of what I call mature politics. I'm writing a book, by the way. I have so many books I keep writing. I don't know if I'll ever finish. It's called Mature Politics. Then there is Clean Politics, another book. I think I spoke about it last week. Clean Politics. Then there is Mature Politics. Clean Politics is a politics whereby you become a leader not by buying it. You're not buying your space. You are being voted for work ethic. That's clean politics. Mature politics is knowing what to do with the role that has been given to you. Unfortunately, in Africa, the African politician thinks he's there to make money. There should be no money in leadership. In fact, the most underpaying job should be leadership, so that people will not desire it. I don't think a member of parliament has any business to do business with government. They should be banned. You will see no one want to be a politician. But a young guy now seeing a politician blow money. You came the other day, you have your first year in politics. I mean, your first term as a politician, member of parliament or whatever. Then all of a sudden you have money on your tables. The young person will think that this is a career.
Yes, when I grow
Politics is not a career. Politics has never been a career. Leadership, remove politics. Leadership is not a career. Actually, you should not want to be a leader. You should fear being a leader. But unfortunately today, it's the same with being a mechanic. It's the same with being an engineer. It shouldn't be the same. You should fear taking 50+ million people astray. You know what it means to do that? Even before God, you know what you are doing. So unfortunately, Africa we've not developed mature politics where the politician will understand this space is for those people. There is nothing here for me. There is no wig for my wife. There is no big private school for my children.
BMW.
There is no car for my son. I mean, it's such a shame that in Kenya, you become a politician for 5 years and you're showing us apartments.
But is it not the citizens who are forcing the politicians to be like that?
But you see, at the end of the day, we are not, that's why I'm thanking God. That's why I'm saying from 2027, there has been a political blindness. in choosing our leader, in keeping our leader in check, in transforming the way governance is done in a nation. So there is a blindness. So you can't even blame us because that's where we came from. We came from the school of thought whereby the one that brings more money is the one that wins the seat. But that is going to change because it's no longer who brings the money. Eat the money, by the way, is your money. But don't vote like money. Or more so, reject the money if you're mature enough.
Yeah.
But I will not sit here on this seat and tell you reject the money when I know the kind of economy we have. So it depends on where you are standing. Eat the money, but still do the right thing. But if you are mature, reject the money and still do what is right. At the end of the day, do what is right. From all the way to the... I saw, I don't know how true it is, or maybe it's just these bloggers, but I saw one of the senators of Ukambani saying that the State House is not like your bedroom. It will be very hard to remove the president. I don't know how true. I saw it written there, but I don't know whether he said it, that it will be very hard to remove the president because it's not your bedroom where you walk in. You are about to see people walk in. You are about to see young politicians, first-time members of parliaments, first-time MCAs, mark my word, first-time ministers, first-time cabinet secretaries, first-time permanent secretaries. You are going to see those things happening so that it will blot out this mentality that you own a seat. No one owns the seat. Kenyans own every seat as far as elections are concerned. And it is the work of Kenyans to say who will sit on that seat. It has nothing to do with you're a president. You can be a one-term president. Stop lying to people. You can be Kenyans can make sure... Which one is my camera?
That's your camera, sir.
Kenyans can make sure that you are a one-term leader. Don't put it in your head because you have too much knowledge. Too much knowledge is poisonous because it fools you.
Yeah.
Actually, I tell people, the enemy of what you need to know is what you already know. So be very careful of what you know because it can form pride. Did you not see members of parliament saying the president has never lost anything? So this AU is a joyride? What happened? Because the enemy of what you need to know is what you already know. It can form pride in you. I'm the leader. I can never leave this seat. I have money. It's not about money. This 2027, you will see a lot of tables turning because now people are entering into clean politics and number two, mature politics.
Actually, there was a very dangerous statement by one of the government officials when they had visited Rift Valley, and he was saying, come 2027, if they will not have the votes, they are going to add the votes. Imagine having the guts to speak openly that they are going to add. Where are they getting the votes?
It's an absurd, because that's zeroing the political, the electoral structure of the nation.
Yeah.
What you're telling us is your vote means nothing. So then the question would be, why vote then?
But there was something that the Royal Media Service founder talked about the election process during some burial across the week. It just clicked my mind when you're talking about the elections. And the point blank, Dr. S.K. Masharia, he point blank said,
yeah, I saw it.
How I wish, because I know as you keep speaking, probably our director could have a minute to, we hadn't planned for that, but if they could get that clip. That is Dr. S.K. Masharia.
Yeah.
One, he's 84 years old.
He said he has nothing to lose.
He's not a crazy man.
He's not a crazy man. And he's a wealthy man.
And he's a wealthy man. And he stood in front of cameras and he said that the election, how do you call it? The voter registration is messed up. In short, I'm trying to summarize what he said. He said that the voter registration is messed up because the people who are voting and are dead. We still have their IDs and they're in the voter register. They're in the voter register, but they are dead. And he said the previous election, it was won because the person who won the seat knew how to play with the voter register. For me, I found those words very weighty. And I was afraid when I was looking at the clip. But then also he said he has nothing to lose. He's 84 years of age. And if he is to be taken, he is willing to go. I mean, that could raise... What do you think about that statement?
I think that if a leader of a nation is serious, such people should be arrested. Let me tell you the two people that should never see daylight, that they should rot in cell. And I'm saying that publicly, completely rot in cell. You better thank God we are not those people, that we are not those leaders. Because for me, you make such a wrong statement, two people. Number one, the tribal person. You say anything tribal. Because when you are tribal, you are messing up with our whole nation. When you say anything tribal, like I don't know what's the name of that guy. They are normally in town, those barazas. There's a guy that spoke concerning Kikuyus. That they are going to close Thika Road and do. That's a very foolish statement. Such people should be arrested immediately. Because what you are doing, I stayed in Rwanda, so let me explain how it works. I was a missionary in Rwanda for quite a period of time. In Rwanda, you can't easily say the name Hutu or Tutsi. You can't say it. What they saw in 1994, the genocide, was it 1994? The genocide period, basically. They don't ever want that repeated. You need to go to the museum where you have bones, 1 million bones. Then you will understand what is war. Kenya doesn't know war. That's why stupid people like that, and I say that with all humility. You know, stupidity is when you allow your mouth to go ahead of your brain. You speak before you think. Kenya doesn't know war. We have a bit of it in 2007. We don't know war. We don't know war. That's political war. There is what you call national war. And that's what some people are trying to do. They are trying to bring war to the nations by instigating tribal languages, by instigating the Kisii against the Jaluo, the Maasai against the Kipsigis, the Turkana against the Kikuyu. That person should be arrested. In Rwanda, when you see those skulls, my brother, you will never fight. I dare you to go to Rwanda and see. You will never want to fight. When you see like 1 million heads stacked up in a place, you will never want to fight. When you see 1 million legs, for example, you will never want to fight. People are like this because either we were not there during independence, so we really don't know what it took for Kenya to be independent. And by the way, I hope you know, it's not just Kikuyus. Kikuyus played a role. Jaluos played a role. I believe everyone played. Maasais played a role. You never know. You are not there. But it took all of us to free all of us. Can I repeat my statement? Yeah. It took all of us to free all of us. So yes, maybe one tribe might have had more people by number, but not necessarily by the virtue of fighting. I remember Jaramogi Oginga, the father of Mr. Raila Odinga. Yes. He played a very big portion in helping to fight. Yes. So yes, Jaluos fought, Kikuyus fought, Nandis fought, Maasais fought. Everyone fought in their own way to free the nation. So it took all of us to free all of us. Two people that should never see the light of the day. Number one, a person that instigates tribalism in a nation. Such a person should be arrested without parole. No option of having an opportunity to even explain himself. Because such words sink a nation. Very bad words, and they can sink a nation. The second people that should be are people that they are corrupt people. 1 million shillings can change lives. There are people that are just taking money that belongs to institutions like SHA. What are you doing when you're playing with healthcare funding? What are you doing to a nation? Corrupt people should never see the light of the day. You understand what I'm saying? But unfortunately with Kenya, people just speak the way they want. As long as you have internet, you have social media, and you have 10 shillings instead of eating mandazi. At least you should have eaten, your body will have something to excrete. But your brain has nothing. You're just speaking like a fool. And the unfortunate part of Kenya is that everyone in Kenya knows now. Everyone is knowledgeable according to what they think. So people just take the microphone, search baraza, speak the way they want, say things without even being checked, you know, then it brings a nation to what we are. So what do you expect with a nation where anyone can say what they want? I believe in freedom of right, but I believe that freedom should not infringe on another person's freedom. It's like the right of picketing.
Yeah.
I believe in picketing, and I believe it should not be stopped to picket. But your picketing should not stop her from opening her shop. Your picketing should not stop her from opening her business.
Yeah.
You keep picketing, but let not your right infringe on the right of the other person. Kenya can change, but Kenya must be made to change.
Yeah.
But on those statements, could there be some truth? Being a person, he ranks, he's not, I'll use the word, a normal, lowly man. When it comes to media services, he probably owns 50 to 70%, I'd say, of the media stations. Coming from a man like him and saying the voter registrar might have been tampered with, but up to date. Could there be some bits of truth?
It's not new. I mean, voter registration has been tampered from Moi. But what we need to do is that where Kenya is now, Kenya should not be experiencing tampering of the votes. By the way, is the Electoral Commission already set?
No, not yet.
So how do you expect to have an election in a nation when there is no Electoral Commission? What commission is going to be standing on to make sure that these votes are coming in and happening, all those things? So incompetence is a choice. No one is born incompetent, I hope you know. No one is born incompetent. People just choose to be incompetent because you are benefiting. And you know, in Kenya, you only fight it when you're not benefiting. Have you not seen ministers saying, this is wrong, and then they're given a political position.
Yeah.
Then the same guy keeps quiet.
And you wonder.
Because it was about them. It's not about the people. As long as I'm not making something, I'll fight you. But if I'm making something, and that's why for me, I make sure when I say no to something, I check my heart. My brother, many people don't know, and many people will never know what we have said no to. You don't know, in order for me to speak like this, what it really means to my pocket. You don't know what it means to my ministry. You don't know what it means, because now, me too, I can do a harambe and invite people and get 100 million. And I can do a very nice auditorium here and put a helipad. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
But when I started speaking like this, I know what I was going to lose. I was going to lose relationships. I'm okay. I was going to lose fundings. I'm okay. So when you don't have that strength, and there's what I call the power of the mind. If you don't have a strong mind, you are in it for what you can get, not what you can give. A leader is in it for what he can give, while a businessman is just in it for what he can get. If you are doing business with a nation, you are always getting from the nation. You are raping the nation. And we have a lot of people in this nation that are raping Kenya. Completely going to bed with Kenya. Removing all the capabilities that Kenya has. And that's why I've said, please hear me, all leaders. Don't be too sure that it will be politics as usual. Watch this space.
Actually, even what is more hurting, I was reading today an article actually of government officials, that is the people that are employed by the government. They have been cut a lot of money, like for health insurance. But right now, when they go to use that insurance, it's not working. It's not working. Reason being that the money is not being funded to those hospitals. Yet every month, they are being cut from their salary. And you are left to wonder, what kind of nation is this? Like, you can take money, there's a lot of budget that is so expensive for wages, but we cannot see the output. Where does this money even go?
A good idea with wrong management is equal to a bad idea. So you can have a very great idea, but you don't have management. You can't manage SHA. You can't manage NHIF. You can't manage housing. Like, I want to see the people that will be given the housing. You remember the ones in Kibera?
Yes.
It's able people that are renting them out. It was not for the local guy. And this is what I'm afraid of. We don't take the project to the end. Do you understand that? We don't take the project to the end. We are very good in in groundbreaking. But we don't really take the project to the end. Someone should have taken SHA to the end to really show that SHA works better than NHIF, for example. But if you have people not being able to access, and then someone is arguing, people are able to access. It's not about those that are able to access. Thank God for them. They are able to access. The argument is those that are not able to access. We have people that are being cut the housing levy, by the way, from the government, and they will not access the houses.
Yeah. Actually, it was the CS, Alice Wahome, who said, you should not expect anything. This is levy, this is tax. So this is not for you. It's something that we are cutting to use it how we want it.
You see, now that is the problem. So that's what I'm saying. We don't have, Kenya lacks good managers. The problem of Kenya is just one, management. If we can deal with management, we have changed Kenya.
The issue is management.
The issue is management. But just to highlight a few so that for the sake of our viewers, we know that the president elected a committee to go help in the selection of the Electoral commissioners. So the team's work, main mandate was for them to take in, probably take in those who have applied the applications, and then, of course, do a review, and then take the names probably to the president, and the parliament can check in. So we know the committee was formed for that. I hope they had given some deadlines when, because even I think there was a list that was given, I think a number of people who had applied for that. But the committee was to help do this selection process for the commissioners. But the commissioners are yet to be pronounced. But then, back again, you've highlighted about the SHA, you've talked about the management, what is happening in this country, just but a few things you've also mentioned. At the same time, it is during this week, I remember we saw a president who told the people, hapa mahali, nataka nieke 5,000 flats, utakaa kama New York or London. Am I the only one who happened to...
Yeah, no, you're not the only one. We had it.
But then you saw how the citizens, the common wananchi reacted. And you know how excited is it? I mean, they were when they... Is it like their minds, they believed that truly this place will look
You
like
can't
New
blame
York?
them. We can't blame them.
Are they that green?
Everyone wants to succeed. So when the language of success is being spoken, you won't lack gullible
people.
Yeah, you can't blame them. You can't blame people for being happy when something nice is spoken, because they really believe in that something nice.
Like they
really believe. They believe it. I mean, what is the problem with Kenya looking like New York? What's the difference? It's soil. The problem, again, I'm repeating, is management. They really believe that it can look like New York. When you say, Mukini, if you elect me, I'll build this road. They elect you because they believe that the road will be built. That means their goods will have a shorter time to get to the market. It means someone will not die on the road trying to go and give birth. I mean, it means all these things. So, but the problem is these leaders take us for granted. So I can't blame the Kenyan for believing that that place can look like New York. I can't blame the Kenyan.
That Islam will look like New York.
Yes. I will. Have you seen the pictures of New York 100 years ago? Have you seen the pictures of New York 60 years ago? Any place can transform. Have you seen the pictures of Dubai 1994?
But that took time.
1994.
Can that be done within a 5-year limit?
What is stopping? Take 2 billion that you are losing every day and put it in Eastlands. 2 billion times 30?
That's almost 60 billion.
Okay, take 60 billion and take it to Eastlands. What stops Eastlands from being like Dubai?
Very possible.
Take another 100 billion and take it to Isili. Or take another 500 billion and take it to Nairobi. What stops it? It's management. So those people cannot really necessarily, you can't blame them for the joy, because everyone is looking for something green. We might be naive. And that's the work of the leader, to make sure that even though the person that elected them is naive, that naivety will not be naivety at the end of the day. That I will make sure whatever they are naive about good governance. Even though they are naive, I will fight to bring good governance in their naivety. Even though they are naive about housing projects, I will fight to bring housing projects. Even though they are naive about Kenya, like every Kenyan not needing to pay for medical review, I will fight to make sure that people in my constituency don't pay for medical review. So you can't blame the Kenyan for being happy over what he's supposed to get. Food, shelter, clothing. I mean, just imagine shelter. Shelter should not be a conversation to make anyone a leader. Shelter should be a conversation of everyone that's in leadership. Can I repeat my statement? Shelter should not be a conversation to make someone a member of parliament. That if you elect me, I'll give you houses. That should not be on the platform of politics. But the person that is currently in leadership should work to make sure, despite people have elected you, despite people have not elected you, should fight to make sure that it's possible to have a place where no one rents a home. That Kenya is possible. That Kenya where people share is possible. That Kenya where agriculture, I mean, nyanya should be 1 bob. Tomato should be 1 shilling.
It's very expensive now.
That Kenya is there. Because Kenya, do you know we import apple from Israel, I think. Yeah. Do you know Israel took sand from Kenya to go and farm? Yeah. Soil to go and farm. Yeah. Is that not absurd? Because we don't even know what to do with the soil. You want to empower Kenyans? Listen, you have where you came from, true? Like 90% of Kenyans have at least where they came from, have a property, even though it's not theirs. 70% or 80%, they have where they came from. Empower their homes. Create food capacity. Then you have changed the nation. But you can't blame a Kenyan for electing someone because they'll give them fertilizer. Because fertilizer means freedom to the local mwananchi. But the one that is asking for that vote already knows they are lying. But the Kenyan is so honest because they are thinking, this person, whatever he's saying, he's going to do. The problem of Kenya is management.
I saw a group of politicians who are like mocking some of the Kenyans that are saying things are not working. And they were asking, if the president is going to those rallies, we are seeing thousands and thousands of people showing up. So they are saying, people believe in this government. Why is it that there's some people who feel that it's not working, yet when we go to places, people are coming in large numbers?
If you do a rally at 11 a.m. and you have 5,000 people, on Monday, 11 a.m., you are a waste of a leader.
So you shouldn't be celebrating?
You shouldn't be celebrating. They have nothing to do apart from listening to you. They have nothing to do.
But that's their victory. It's being paraded.
That's why I'm saying the president or the member of parliament or the leader should not be happy that you have 10,000 people coming to your... That means you have 10,000 people in that community that have nothing better to do than to listen to your lies. You know you are lying. You know you not build that road. And then you have 10,000 people listening to you. If those 10,000 people had... Now let me ask you a question. Yeah. Do you want to tell me when the president goes somewhere, people take an off?
Absolutely not.
No, let's be honest. Like the president is coming to Murang'a,
yes.
So people take an off, doctors take an off. Like a doctor would go to his hospital.
It's a public holiday.
And the doctor will go to the hospital and tell the boss, my president is coming, so I need an off for 2 days so that I can... Who takes an off to listen to their member of parliament? So it means they are not working. So if you have during the week and you have 10,000 people, including churches, yeah. If you are able to pull 10,000 people on a weekday service during the day,
yeah.
You should be very afraid unless you only have one option. They are self-employed.
But still, self-employed people have issues to handle on a day.
Yeah,
but you see, they are self-employed, so they are their own bosses. They can choose, I'll handle this issue next week. But if you can attract 10,000 people on Tuesday, 11 a.m., you are not a leader. That means the people are not working. And this is the problem of leaders in Kenya. They go to places, so they are coming there to be paid. I hope you know, you've seen on the side, after the meeting, people are being given 500, 1,000. Yeah. They don't have anything better to do. Me, I would not want to do a conference on a weekday at a time whereby, like look at Kingdom Come. Then you will understand. Yeah. We do Kingdom Come conference in the evening. Yeah. Because we assume people have left their jobs. We are assuming people are working. But you can't just do a conference. Please, even to the pastors, There are times where you allow people to work. And if you have your church full, there are only two options. Either they are too rich
Or too poor.
or they are too poor. And guess what? We all know what they are.
Yeah.
But do I say?
That's such a such a perspective, because it means people have been celebrating in their failures.
People have been celebrating poverty.
Yeah.
Ati wanasema watu wanipendi huku. Hawa ni nani? Broke people. Broke people. Check how many business people left their business to listen to you. None. How many doctors left their medicinal capacities to listen to you? None. How many engineers left their engineering to listen to you? None. How many farmers left their farms to listen? None. But how many poor people left their poverty to listen to a poor man? Many.
Or they came so that they can get paid. Like you are their work now.
Yeah.
Poor
for the
people.
day.
Yes.
It's poor people.
And now the question is, what do they do on other days when you are not coming? You see, that's why the insecurity, all those
Exactly.
things are coming to region.
You'll have thieves.
Yeah.
You can't deal with theft if you don't create opportunities. Because what will they do? By the way, I hope you know, there's a time I saw on TV a guy that was killed and he was a university graduate. Yes. And he's a thief. What options are they left with? When you have all the papers, only to realize you are duped.
Yeah.
There is no job.
Yeah.
And then someone somewhere with his wife is eating money that belongs to Kenyans. And then someone somewhere just wants to tell us that rich people, that you know very well their money is being corrupted, it's very hard to arrest them, but steal a chicken. You go to court right now, or go to prison and see how many chicken thieves are there.
Yeah. A lot.
But check how many corrupted people are there. You
They
probably
get
find
bond.
nothing.
They're given bond of fewer amount than
I mean,
they
I steal 100 million,
And you're fine them.
and then you give me a bond of 5 million. See, I will take from the 100 million.
Yeah.
That's very good
Doesn't make
business, actually.
sense.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, so let's
business.
all go steal.
Yeah.
Because we only go out on a bond. Which bond? I will use stolen money to free myself. It doesn't make sense. But the guy that has stolen chicken, they will be castigated. They will be done what? Because unfortunately, that's the world we are living in. But let me tell you, it can change and it will change. I repeat the statement. It can change.
And it will.
And where we are going, it will change.
Actually, I saw a very interesting comment from a person called Sarah. I think she is a Kenyan abroad, in America. This is what she's saying. If I could get half of what I get in America, I would be doing extremely well in Kenya. Even a third will do very well.
And that's a Kenyan.
Is it that
Yes.
bad?
It's that
Yeah.
bad. Because you know why? I hope you know in the US, you make a lot of money, but the way the government has structured it is that you spend all of it.
Yes, you live with that.
Yeah, I know several people in the US. You find that one house is $2,000. It's normal for them to pay $2,000. That's almost 250,000 or so. It's normal. That's a normal person. So if they are working for what, $3,000-4,000 a month, it's not a lot of money. But come to Kenya with $3,000.
It's good money per month.
That's big money, right? You can do a lot with that money. So that's what the person is saying there.
Yeah.
So we need to create opportunities to have our people spend their power locally
Yeah.
before we think about thinking that it's a blessing for the Ministry of what?
Labor.
Labor to export people.
Because we've seen them celebrating and
No.
videos are being taken.
No,
and the CS
no.
is personally walking them to the airport.
No, there's nothing to celebrate there. There's nothing. They are going to empower other nations when they should have used that power in their own nation.
Actually, there's something I saw concerning the use of the system. The people, in our country, we use VAT, way of
Value-added
collecting.
tax.
Yes. But in nations like America, they use tariff, meaning the tax is tax on the imports for people from outside. But when you come to maybe many African nations, they take tax from domestic.
Locals.
Yes. So you find people are not able to explore.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Because by the time you think about starting a company, the things you
The
need,
things, it's a lot.
the amount of tax you need
Yeah.
to go and meet this one, you need to go meet this one. I mean, corruption should die. You want to take a country forward? Remove corrupt people. It's a demon. It's a demon. The easiest work is leadership, and it can be the hardest work. Because think about it. You are given a nation for free to run. You are given resources to administrate. You are given protocol. You are given security. You are given cars. You are given... Just think about it. How easy is it? It becomes hard when you don't know what to do with leadership. Kenya's problem is simple. Management.
Management. Well, I hope you are enjoying the conversation. I can see quite a number of people have joined. If you are at home joining this conversation, there's a number going down your screen. You can send in your contribution. You can send in your insight on the topic of the day. It's going to add weight. You see, as we read these comments, we are seeing your view and how these things, we are not just speaking as theories. No, they are affecting you as a person. And after this short break that we are going to take, we are going to be sampling the questions, answering them. Also, we are going to have a chance to have the expert engage with the live audience. So do not touch that dial. Stay tuned. We are coming back after a short break.
Are you ready for an extraordinary Easter special experience? Look no further. Share the Love Center, in conjunction with the Agape Band from Tanzania, invites you to a mega Easter special experience on 18th, 21st of April 2025 at Share the Love Center, Kenol, Murang'a County, hosted by our very own Bishop Teacher John C.W.
There's nothing unique about the cross. There is everything unique about who hung on it. It's not the process of death that we glorify. It's the person that died.
And Reverend Eva C.W.
I'm prophesying the Spirit of God. Oh, yakakaya. Hey, speak life. Speak.
And now, for the very first time at Share the Love Center, ministering the Agape Band from Tanzania. From Nigeria.
You have never been defeated. Oh.
It is bigger. It is better.
My Jesus. Hallelujah. Hosanna.
It is experiential and above all, full of God praises. Don't miss out. It's all about for God, for generations.
Welcome back. This is the Church and the State, where we balance these government policies against biblical standard. And I believe that you have gotten a lot of wisdom, and perspective. Your perspective has changed with the conversation that we are having. We're going to go direct to our live audience to engage the expert. If you have a question, if you have a contribution, it's your time to share. Yes, sister.
I have a question. We have talked about the church and the state, and we have seen the role of the state to the church is rebuilding. We have different dominions. We have Christianity, we have Hindus, we have our cousins from the other side and all that. And narrowing down to Christianity, we have seen people have divided themselves. It's not one voice, which is the body of Christ. We have the Catholic, we have the Protestants, the SDAs and all that. And we have seen the problem with the helipad and what it cost and everything. So how do we create balance when it comes to the state coming to the church to rebuild? Because, if every other person, the fact that we have different dominions still in Christianity. Everyone would want to voice something, they'd want to be heard, and they would want things to be done according to how they think is in line with their religion. So how do we bring that balance, narrowing down to the church being one voice? Yeah.
Oh, do I answer?
Maybe we can
Okay.
hear them then.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I personally have a concern. I think I've been exposed in the medical field for the past 7 years. And I see Bishop is insisting that this labor exploitation is being detrimental to our workforce in the country. And Bishop, true to fact, working in Kenya as in the medical field is like slavery. There's a lot of slavery in the field. And I find no problem if anyone maybe finds greener pasture in the outside country. Let me give you this scenario. A nurse, for example, in UK is paid 17.5 per hour. And if you have maybe 8 hours in the contact facility, that amounts to almost 2,275. And you multiply that in the day with 8. I'm giving it in the valuation of the Kenyan shillings. That's like, because by now the dollar is selling at 21.29. That's roughly 130. 130 times 17.5. That gives you 22,750 times 8 hours in a contact day. That amounts to 18,200. If you multiply it by 30 days, that gives you 546K. And in the Kenyan perspective, a nurse, qualified, registered, who has gone vigorous training and understands the burdens of being a nurse, is given 30,000 in a probation of 1 year. So it is very hurting at our hand. I've been in the field. By grace, I've been in the hospital setting from 2020. I've seen this, Bishop, from my perspective. And right now, if I stand in the training field, training students, I feel there's no burden resting on me than the slavery that I find in the hospital. Also, another thing that I want to react is based on the Nduta's case. Nduta was found with almost 2 kilograms of cocaine by 2023. And the reason why Vietnam is a bit strict on the drug and alcohol abuse is because most of the productivity has been hampered. If you look at the greater population, like there was some research that I was reading by Jiang et al. That was a research of 2005. 26.1% of the population of Vietnam is consuming drugs, and it is totally hampering their productivity. And when I look at the population of Vietnam, it's like 100.5 million. That sounds that a greater percentage of the people who are consuming or rather abusing drugs in that nation is high, which is posing a very serious threat to the economy of that nation. To my side personally, I don't find any offense if Vietnam is going to take whatever step, depending on based even on the diplomatic measures that we Kenya are taking, because this is going to affect. If this drug was to be sourced into the population without being noticed, it could affect a great number of the youths in that nation. So that is my submission. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yuri, do you have something?
As I said, I come from Lari, and I know Lari people are watching. So, speaking of 2027 again, right now, there is something we call PR in our government, something like scripted government, like a movie or so, not a reality thing, like the things of promising and such. Each and every day we keep on seeing the country becoming worse and worse and worse and worse. Will we wait till 2027 till it's broken? This thing pains me a lot because speaking of 2027, it might be so far away, and what can be done in the middle to correct because if we say 2027, it means the whole system and the whole system has gone and into a failure till 2027. It means we didn't have a government. So yeah, that was basically my number one question. And speaking about Larry, we can see, like, for example, our MP posting and in his page and everywhere, him giving the children's uji, him raising Kenya Power's post that are because of the rainy season and so. And these are the things that we have been seeing keeping on and repeating themselves, openings and launching chiefs or offices. I think these are the things that you are not even supposed to speak as if you have done an achievement. It's their responsibility thinking so. And this posts me to the scriptural question. Yeah, a government of PR. Thank you.
I know you want to take a reaction, but before you take a reaction,
Yes, sir.
the lady in the middle, retake your question again, then we take your reaction again. We have time, just a minute. Let's give her a chance again.
Oh, my question was, the role of the state to the church, we've said, is rebuilding, right? And so we have we have different dominions, and even in Christianity, we have like the SDA, the Catholic, the Protestants, and what have you. So we find that these people literally, they would want a space and they would want a voice to the government, and they would want the government to literally adhere to whatever they're saying. And yet the body of Christ is meant to stand as one voice, as the voice of Christ to the nation. So how do we create balance? Because we also know that our cousins from the other side would want to have a take and a space for them to be part of whatever the government is doing. So how do we create balance when it comes to all this?
This dominion and denomination and the state. Yes, sir, now we can take also your reaction.
I think I've heard you people talking about the voter registration and edification.
Yes, the registration.
I think in 2022, I was a presiding officer in the suburbs of Busia. And I can tell you this. I find no problem in the local setting because I was handling the KIMS machine. It was under my custody. Even when I was presenting the figures at the tallying center at our constituency, there was no problem. Now here comes my problem. Could you be having a problem in the national tallying centers that are cooking figures? Because true to fact, at the local level, let me say in the constituency setting, there's nothing that can be hampered. Yeah. Can something be done in the national level? Because we present the right things, because the Kenya integrated machine that we figure in the details, that's the best thing. Personally, I've been the presiding officer. I saw this thing. Now comes figures different to what we present.
These are very interesting reactions you're taking, of which you've seen. He said initially during the first reaction, he's worked in the health sector. And a nurse can get as little, what's the right word to call them? Miaga or peasants, because that is 30,000 per month. And he was giving a brief description of how, if you do the calculations, that
over half a million.
Yeah, that is almost 546,000 you say they take back home. And you wouldn't judge one if they do that. And I know those are conversations probably youth or fellow nurses have amongst themselves as they are training or going through their courses. They're like, I'm doing this so that I go study German and then go to this country and offer such services. That is one of the reactions from our live audience. Also, the other thing he's noted is also the issue on the voter registration. And I think with that, initially we saw them using the KIMS kit in the previous election, but in other constituencies we had issues concerning the KIMS kit, and with others they were okay. You know, and the question will there be probably issues with the national tallying center, of which from our perspective and from what we've seen, allow me also just add a comment in that is, we've seen people coming out and saying, true to it, the voter registrar might be having issues. That is commentaries and questions from one of our. Do you want to add on something concerning the voter registration from the first reaction?
You don't have an election if you don't have a body to watch over it. You have no election. You have a crooked method of either taking power or keeping power. Only two things about election. In an election, you either take power, it means you are coming into the system, or keep power, which means you are retaining into the system. And so the arm or the body that has been tasked with making sure that this prerogative stays within the bounds of honesty is the Electoral Commission of that nation. In this view, is the Electoral Commission of Kenya. And so when you look at it from that ground, you of course, there is what he's saying, where from the grassroots, I want to believe he's speaking about the grassroots, where you have what you call the tallying stations, then you call the returning agents, the agents that do then they return, then that thing is sent. And we've seen even positions whereby the kits are not working, so they refer to the manual, where you have different agents of different political parties coming together and making sure they watch the votes and they keep the votes and all those kind of things. So that reality is there. But again, during now the transmission of this vote from the local ground
to the main
tallying post, we don't know the system here. The weight of the system that is used to transmit those figures, because maybe I would like to ask you, when the tallying is happening at the local grounds, right? How does it work? Do you key in onto a system the figures onto a system, and then that system is reflected on the national level, or you just say it, the agents, what you call the party agents come together and they do it manually and then they confirm the same? How does it work? Is it on?
You can use has.
When you come to the tallying center, this is what happens. Everything is under the custody of the presiding officer.
Okay, there is one presiding officer.
Yeah, there is one presiding officer
within that
place. So maybe in the constituency tallying center, there's a team of many people, even including the politicians. But when you come with the KIMS machine, that machine, the moment you're closing the working hours, you station closed, and you're supposed to have transfigured the data to Nairobi. So when that KIMS machine is opened, there's a rationing and evaluations. Maybe if the number of registered voters in that let me say in a polling station is like 500 and 200 people turned up, there's a percentage that is even reflecting. So it brings a lot of transparency when you're holding the KIMS machine. Because I took time to look at it, there's no problem. Even when you look at the percentaging and everything is right. So from the tallying center, what is given, we just go that it is being confirmed if you've done the right thing. Yeah. Unless maybe those assisted voters and all the one that you've said, the KIMS machine can fail to identify the biometrics. So that's when you seek for like something like Form 36, which you're allowing the voter to vote using the manual method. But still, there's also another form that is capturing such. So after tallying with the machine, these ones also have to be tallied, and you find that the figures are matching. So my worry is everything that is presented in the grassroots setting is very genuine. But after some time, you find the figures that are being projected in the TV are totally different.
They are cooked.
Yeah. So that is why always could be the problem, because there's a lot of transparency. If you're the PO and you've messed, you're held accountable for everything. This is an election offense, which can even make you liable to be sued. So that is the grassroots. Now I don't know what happens in Nairobi.
So that's now the concept of management. Yeah. The person that is in power, the Electoral Commission Board, headed by the chair, that chair is, where the problem is right there, because once the matter is handled professionally, honestly from the grassroots level, and then the transmission within that space gets to the main, which they normally do it at Bomas, I think, that's where the problem comes in. And that tells you that, they can't do anything without that chair. I hope you know the power lies with the chair. So if the chair is corrupt, or the chair actually the chair should not be allowed to vote, number one. Number two, the chair should not have a preferred candidate. The work of the chair is to project the person that the citizens have chosen. It should not be in his interest to have a previous meeting with the political parties, leaders. They should never be seen it should actually be considered as an offense if he's seen having any conversations with any political leader that is vying for any presidential post or whatever of that nature. And so we need to have competent people operating these particular positions so that whatever that is, because look, even if it's clean at the grassroots and then it's messed up here, so the cleanliness can be, it's like taking one bad tomato and then putting it in a crate of good ones. So eventually the whole system will collapse. And so that aspect of good management is emphasized on that ground. Coming to your question, looking at different denominations and all those things, I have a scripture for you. And I want to tell you, the Bible says God does not change. So what does that mean? Whatever that comes from God is constant. God has what you call constants, several constants. Number one, light is a constant. Number two, wisdom is a constant. Number three, knowledge is a constant. So there are things, you can't manipulate them. You can't wake up based on the amount of money you have and you buy the day. And then now it's 6 a.m. but it's dark. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. There are constants that God put that are beyond the capacity of man to influence. I want you to look at this scripture. It's a very common scripture. I constantly use it. Proverbs 4 verse 7. I hope maybe the media is able to project Proverbs 4 verse 7. So this is how we are going to, this is the constant that if displayed in any platform, it becomes the ruling factor beyond religion and beyond tribe. It says, please, can you find, change this one so that we can try and get the New Living Translation or another, so that we can have maybe a much more easier way of understanding. I would have read this, and I love it, but now look at that. Sister, you can read it? Getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do. So what is the constant? Despite your tribe, despite your religion, what is constant there? Wisdom. So it means if we go by wisdom, it can blot out tribalism, it can blot out unnecessary cultures, it can blot out party perspectives that are not within the framework of truth. So wisdom then becomes a key element to break all these things that have no meaning. So the writer says there, getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do. So wisdom is our constant. And then he says, and whatever else you do, develop good judgment. So then your case is a case of judgment. So you see, the constant there is not the political party you represent. It's not the tribe you come from. It's not the denomination of your church. The constant there is wisdom. And God's wisdom cannot be manipulated by any party. God's wisdom cannot be manipulated by any amount of money. You can't buy that wisdom. So then wisdom there will become the principal thing that we'll use as our constant to deal with any variable that would want to instigate itself as truth. Wisdom then becomes the ground to deal with that reality. Have you understood that? Then now, to you. I've had people in your university are watching. Our university that is watching. Your statement was in view of...
Are we going to wait till 2027?
This is it. Kenya is a democratic nation.
Yeah.
And in a democracy, when a choice is made, a choice is kept unless there is a twist. Then there comes in as one of the three arms of government, name them. There is the executive,
The legislature.
there is the legislature, and there is the judiciary. So it means where Kenya is standing, the option of using force is not the legal way of going around it. So the best thing to do for Kenya is to wait till 2027. But if not, there is a legal way, which number one is called an impeachment, whereby you can summon your member of parliament, I can summon my member of parliament, and if we get the numbers, they can literally impeach. We saw the deputy president being impeached. So there are legal ways. What I want to tell Kenyans, do not think that being violent can easily take a leader out of office. And it's more, say, a presidential leader. It's not as easy as it looks. I would not appeal to the young people to be violent about, to be violent about removing anyone from power, but rather to follow the rule of law that is within that particular jurisdiction to create that reality. But if not, Kenya, hear me, we have something that is more important. Even if your area member of parliament will not do it, at some point, we are getting to the election period. Your vote is your choice. By the way, I want to ask you guys, have you ever voted? Have you ever voted? You have never voted? How old are you? Oh, Nikula, mdema taona. Your girlfriend will see the years are too little. Ambani?
Yeah.
Okay, you have never voted, right?
Banned.
Have you ever voted? You have never voted, right? Have you ever voted, my brother? So already, we have lost 2 votes. So it means your idea of leadership is useless. It means its use is not an abuse, is less. The reason is because we will only talk about what you're saying, but when it comes to doing the things, the Bible says the things which he began to both do and teach. So you're on the teaching realm. But the day of doing, when it comes, your vote will mean nothing. So the problem of Kenyans, they want what they're not willing to participate in. We want good governance, but everyone is saying politics is a dirty game. But we want good governance. And then when the good leaders are finally coming into authority, we begin to castigate them. You are the church. Don't speak about politics. Don't speak about this. So then how do you expect good leadership with bad people? So already we have failed because 2 out of the votes we need to change Kenya are not there. Have you ever voted? 3 times. Hey, you are a veteran. Bro?
I've never missed
You've never missed
an election. And anyone who is around me, I make sure I call them.
So the question I want to ask you.
Vote.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Why do you wake up to vote?
Because I believe in the leaders affecting my day to day. I'm a businessman. I'm not employed. I run businesses. And I have a team.
We are sorry.
I have a team below me that I have to think about them.
Right.
And I always tell them, it starts from the top. If it is messed up from the top, there is little or much I can do. So I not only vote, but I ensure even my team on the day of election. It's my personal responsibility to ensure they are
So you are voting
and they
because
vote.
you believe in a better future.
Yes.
So it's the same with the one that is happy, shouting, because they believe that Dandora...
I totally believe that. Sorry to say.
New York.
You get it, right? It becomes it's the same way because you have kosa yako ni worse. Because you wake up at 4, you are queuing. I mean, me, I left here to go to Matu. I was queuing at 2:30
to go vote.
And then such nonsense begins to be reflected when we look at some of us, how far we went just to vote, and then you want to play with us. You will not play with us.
But at the level, I think, when the numbers come out overwhelming, is it overwhelming?
Right.
Yes? when the numbers are too much, it becomes too hard for them to steal. That is my belief. And that's why I take it as a personal responsibility. And I hope the church and the state will also get out there when it comes to voter registration and people pick.
Yeah, we encourage the people.
We will need to get out there and tell them.
Yeah.
Even if it is allowing on Spirit Television to run ads on voter registration, go out and take your vote. Go out and register as a voter.
I approve. Where is the director? Where is my
director?
Director, I approve. Director.
So when the voter registration is,
I approve that the church and that Spirit TV should use its platform to educate the church and the state and the local mwananchi on the need of taking your vote because your vote is your voice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In fact, that's the slogan.
Your vote that time, sir, during
is
the
your
breaks,
voice.
I think we should be running such out.
Hey, it's like you had planned yourself.
The moment had come.
Yeah, we can. We should. We should run. Listen, that's why I've told them.
Yeah.
I mean, we have already lost, out of the votes we need to change Kenya, we have lost 2. And I'm wondering how many young people are going to for rallies without an ID. Your rally will mean nothing if you don't have a national ID, number 1. And number 2, you don't go and vote. Stop making it another person's responsibility to choose your leader. Let it be your responsibility to choose your own leader. And by the way, let's assume you chose a leader and he became bad. Have you ever eaten bad meat? Have you ever eaten like nyama choma and then it was, you noticed that it was bad, either it was too hard or maybe it started smelling and they told you. Let me ask you a question. Was that the last day you ate nyama choma?
No.
Exactly. So even if you voted for the person, that's not the last person you should vote for. So stop trying to tell the people they are all the same. They are not all the same. Not all butcheries are the same. If you keep on interacting with a butchery, at some point you get a butchery that sells the kind of meat that you are looking for. Let's go out and get our ID so that when the day of being heard, we will be heard by what we do, not what we say.
Your vote is your voice.
Your vote is your voice. That's the slogan. You get it?
And actually, I saw like business people today in the Muru. They had gathered because they were feeling the issue of licensing and permitting. They need to discuss something. Do you know they were sprinkled oil? Their shirts were full of oil. Their buildings today.
Oh my God.
Just because they are holding a meeting to try and talk issues. That's why we need credible leadership.
Yeah, we need credible leadership. You can't play with businessmen, especially where they are businessmen, you should go. Because those are the people that hold the nation. Those are the landlords, those are the farmers, those are the, it's sad. My apologies to such teams, but soon it's about to change.
It's about to change.
You're about to have a leader that hears you and does what is right and builds a nation.
Amen.
We're about to go for the news.
Yes, maybe to take some of the comments from online. I see Lavender from Facebook saying, with voters registration ongoing, there are concerns about low youth participation. I think this is what we were speaking about. Despite their significant population, given the current political climate, rising cost of living, corruption, scandals, and cases like Margaret Dutas, how can we assure that young people see voting as a tool for change rather than a meaningless exercise? What strategies can be used to boost civic engagement and trust in the electoral process? I think it's what you're talking about.
That is what you've been speaking. I know, sir, we're headed to the news, but even as before we head to the news, there's also a polite request and another idea. Because I know you are hosting, I will see it in the news, you are hosting a very big group and they do some dance moves. When they come during the voter registration, sir, allow us, say the entrance is not free but a voter's ID card. When they come during the voter registration, the next time you host a big artist,
nice. So you have to enter by a voter's ID card.
Let the church members come in and the entrance is a voter's ID card.
Yeah, wonderful. I welcome your vivid, strong
suggestion.
Yeah, actually, it's a burden.
It seems it's a burden. It's a burden.
Our director will take us to the news. Thank you for that. On to the world news. The spending reform. On Tuesday, Germany's parliament, the Bundestag, was making a vote on a massive surge in borrowing that could boost Europe's largest economy and stimulate growth across the region, even as it faces trade tensions with top partner, the United States. The Conservatives and Social Democrats, that is the SPD, who were in talks to form a centralist coalition after last month's election, wanting to create a 500 billion euro, that is $546.05 billion fund. The funding is for infrastructure and to ease constitutionally enshrined borrowing rules to allow higher spending on security. The voting will impact the entire future of Europe's defense and its ongoing support for Ukraine. Director, do we have a video for that when the Europe's Parliament was, yes?
For unlimited borrowing to go into all the obstacles for unlimited borrowing to go into huge debt potentially to build up Germany's armed forces. And this is why this vote is going to be watched very closely by the rest of NATO, because they can't rely on the United States anymore. I was at the Munich Security Conference last month where delegates sat kind of open-mouthed as J.D. Vance told Europe how they were wrong in so many areas, according to him and the Trump administration. And of course, Pete Hegseth, the US Defense Secretary, days earlier had said, Europe can no longer rely on the United States. Don't count on us always being there at your back. So Germany, as Europe's biggest defense spender, is now...
And coming back locally, we have mathematics being an option. See, mathematics will no longer be a compulsory subject for learners transitioning to senior secondary school, marking one of the most radical changes under the competence-based curriculum, that is CBC in Kenya. Instead, students will be required to take English or Kenya Sign Language, that is Kiswahili, physical education, and community service learning as a mandatory subject while choosing to shape their academic and career journeys. And we have this change seeking to promote diversity in placement, says Education Principal Secretary, that is Bello Kipsang. But some stakeholders argue that it might be over-ambitious, especially for any day school, which pulls students from their localities. And
has outlined the new structure for senior school, where English or Kenya Sign Language, Kiswahili, physical education, and community service learning will be the only compulsory subjects. Beyond this, students will have the freedom to choose from 38 elective subjects, allowing them to tailor their academic pathways.
That is why we are saying English is part of the core subjects in senior school. We have Kiswahili as another core subject, so physical education then becomes a core subject. Another core is the community service learning.
This marks a departure from the outgoing 844 system, where mathematics was a core subject alongside English, Kiswahili, and at least 2 sciences selected from physics, chemistry, or biology. Speaking to KTN Basic Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang confirmed that learners set to join senior school in January will begin selecting their subjects and preferred institutions in the second term of this year. The ministry has also proposed capping the number of students transitioning from one junior school to the same senior school at a maximum of 5. If implemented, this policy will promote diversity in student placement.
The former Prime Secretary, that is Irungo Nyaketa, was saying this is a very reckless policy and we need to reconsider. The reason being is that some of the strongest economies like Japan, China, they double this system, yeah? For example, like if you have to go to the tech world, robotics, talk of anything that has to do with engineering dominance.
Which is the future.
Yes, which is the future. Even AI, there has to be a certain level of mindset and mind gearing that needs math. I don't know.
Maths, for me, my own perception, I'd say
Yes.
math is a very important subject.
Yeah, it is. Actually, you remember previous curriculum, you had mathematics, English, Swahili, and at least 2 sciences that were compulsory. And even with that, we needed more knowledge. I don't know what will become when PE, physical exercise, becomes a
compulsory subject, and they get out English from the syllabus.
Yeah.
But also, just to react on the initial news also, we've seen German wanting to borrow so that they can use their money,
Yeah.
I mean, to boost their own security, because we've seen how the US is behaving.
Yeah.
So they have no
And
option.
it has been their toppest partner when it comes. And also they want to help Ukraine with the same borrowing.
Yeah, because they've seen the bigger brother has behaved in a way.
Yeah.
And they're looking for other options.
Yeah.
Those were very interesting news. On to the
They
business
were.
news.
We have propane set to hit the market. This is in Lagos.
Yes.
Yeah. The Dangote oil refinery by Aliko Dangote has commenced the setup of its polypropane facility in Lagos. Dangote's 830 metric tons per year polypropane site has one of the last outstanding milestones for oil refining and petrochemical complex in its commissioning sequence, which has been taking place since January of 2024. And you will see, once fully operational, the Dangote's facility is set to become Africa's largest polypropylene production site, producing from 2 polypropylene units with capacity of 500 per year and 330,000
metric ton per year.
Yes.
Is it the same Dangote we had issues that he was to invest in the country, but some officials asked for some amount?
Yeah, he is one of the richest men in the West. And actually, you see, these produce things like anything plastic and also some textile. So they are saying this is going to boost the economy because these are things that are needed, be it plastic bags, be it balls, basins.
So plastic bags come from polypropylene.
Yes.
That's a very difficult. We'll ask our guest if he can pronounce the word polypropylene. We'll get back to
but PY is silent, I think.
Let's just finish this here because I know, Polypropylene.
Yeah, group of schools. It is group of Zilomon group of schools.
School, yeah.
On to the next news. The traders protest. On Tuesday morning, traders staged protest over planned demolitions at Uhuru Market a few meters from Jogoo Road before marching towards the busy highway. Soon after, they lit tires and lit a blaze on the highway, paralyzing transport and making the road impassable to matatus plying the route. This not being the first time they have protested against the planned demolitions at the market. In 2021, the matter reached to the court to halt the process. The traders received a temporary reprieve in 2021 after Milimani Court issued orders stopping a private developer from evicting them.
I think you can resonate this being a businessman.
Yeah, and I've always been asking, who is this private developer guy? Must be very rich.
Yeah.
Because year in, year out, there are issues with demolitions and private developer.
We need a quick search on that as a country.
Very true.
Yeah.
We have event news or chat news, sports news?
Sports,
okay.
Yeah.
And on to the sports news, the short listing. The Grand Slam Track League is set to challenge traditional track meets, providing athletes with not only financial rewards, but also a fresh competitive structure to thrive in professional sports. The Grand Slam Track League is a brainchild of legendary American Michael Johnson, who birthed the competition as a way to provide better pay for the athletes. The event categories are the short sprint, that is 100 to 200 meter, short hurdles, that is 100 meter hurdles, or the 110 meter hurdles, and the long sprints, that is 200 meter and 400 meters, the long hurdles, that is 400 meter hurdles, and we have the short distance, that's 800 and 1500 meters, and the long distance, that is the 3000 meter and the 5000 meters. The competition will see 6 Kenyans, among other athletes across different disciplines, compete for the historic 1.6 billion, that is $12.6 million US prize kitty. Among them are Mary Mora, that is for short distance, Emmanuel Onyonyi for short distance, Nelly Jepchirir for short distance, Ronald Kwemoy for long distance, Agnes Ngetich for long distance, and Helen Ekalale for long distance.
So they want to change the rewarding system, not only to be monetary values, but to provide the kit.
I told you, I was thinking about joining the track. If things go haywire.
Especially when they introduce the machines, where you don't have to run and you just jog. We have the church events and announcements. In Pakal Avenue, that is Chicago, during this week, Senior Teacher Apostle Dr. Aromio Sai has been having Nichols Conference, known for profound insight and calling believers back to ancient paths, that is, revealing the Father's heart. So if you are around Chicago, you can join this gathering.
And in Share the Love Arena, the 3-hour Heaven Call. Reverend Eva C.W. arranged this meeting for the woman to come and delve into the new dawn. The very first roll-up monthly prayer meeting of the year on the 29th of March as from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the arena. See you there, ladies. You're part of
Yes, I'm part of Walla.
For a moment, I wanted to probably say, read.
I think I can emphasize on that. We have 3 hours Heaven Call. So everyone out there, we welcome you to join this gathering. It's going to be, we are going to be awakened to our new dawn.
You'll be ascending.
Shortly. Yeah. And actually on this again, on 29th, there's something we call AGM, Annual General Meeting, courtesy of Wallap. Women don't just pray. They have birthed something powerful in the marketplace called Wallap Circle. So during the same period, after the prayers, we are going to have AGM, where people are going to be educated about matters, money. You see, we are not just praying. We were told if you are praying during the working hours, it's a sin.
Such stronger women.
Yes, so because we are stronger women, we are going to pray, then we get empowered and take up the systems of this marketplace. Major things are going to be discussed. We are going to have the sharing of dividends. You're going to know about how the loan interests are being, a lot of things. You just come on 29th from 10 a.m.
Can we come for the
yes,
dividend?
It's open. Actually,
for especially the dividend part, only the dividend.
Yes, once
we
you
can
join,
share money.
Once you join, you're going to be a beneficiary. And by the way, talking of that, it's open for both women and men. Just because we call it Wallap doesn't mean it's just for women. No, we have men inside as we talk in the circle. And we welcome more to come and hear what we have to offer.
You really have sold this idea. Spirit Television, you should pay them for the advertising. The Wallap thing, you really...
It's the burden. It's the burden.
Such stronger women need stronger men. I hope the boy child is being empowered as well. Anyway, to the next news. And in Share the Love Arena, the Boot Camp Edition 3 is here with teacher John C.W. I raise a fund of activities embedded in Bible study and prayers to impact and engage our youth and teens on having a firm and good foundation in Jesus Christ. As of 6 to 12 April, register as early as you can.
Then in Share the Love again, this season we are privileged to have a lot of things happening. We have Shabak Conference by teacher John C.W., our expert, with our director, that is Reverend Eva C.W., Minister Kemelod, and Agape Band, light up the Easter season with praise. And this will be happening from the 18th to 21st April. And we welcome everyone to join on site. And actually, it's good to say that it's free entry. And everybody is welcome. And by the way, as much as it's free, there's a link that you're going to see it sent. You must register for the sake of taking care of you and logistics, everything you need. So if you need accommodation, if you need all those arrangements can be made if you send your name through that link.
The Shabak.
Shabak, meaning praise.
The Shabak Conference. Interesting. In our GC Liberty Christian Center, Kava, Kenya. On the 26th of April, Minister Abe Ojumu is going to be in Kenya for the Kava experience. Get ready for the greater supernatural encounter. Prepare your vessel. This is set to happen on location?
26th, no, they have said it's
RGC Liberty Christian Center.
Yeah.
26th of April.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let people come and cover. Wait until they are formed. In Jesus' name. I think having no other business, unless we have an input with what we have been presenting on the news.
Well, it's just to for all those, not just here in Share the Love Center, but all those platforms that have been arrayed there. If you are within the area, or probably you can take a visit, go for the Kava, which means what? Wait.
Yes.
At the RGC, please, we encourage you to go there. We equally encourage you to come for the boot camp. It's going to be a great moment where we, and it's boot camp, so it's military. So don't come here expecting chips and chicken, but a lot of military kind of, and then Wallop, especially, I think we should be going for Wallop, me and you. Especially for the dividend. You know, they're sharing dividend this coming weekend.
We will be going for the dividend and also, sir, for me, for sporting.
Yeah, it's
for
important.
those who have been given to know, that they will understand.
Yeah, they will understand. Yeah, for you is important. For me, you know, I'm old.
For dividend.
I'm old in this thing. And mine is just dividend. If I'm not going to receive dividend, I want to see who is receiving. Then I make them my friends.
Oh, wisdom.
It will finish me.
And with the same overflowing wisdom, sir, allow us to give you this chance to give us a parting shot.
Change is inevitable. It can change. It will change. It must change. And only you can make it change. The question is, will you? Every blessing.
Amen. Change is inevitable.
It can change.
Yes. And it will change. Yes.
And it is on that note that we come to the end of today's show. That is the church and the estate. We want to thank you for being with us for those 2 hours that you've been with us, for every Thursday that you show up. And we hope that whatever that is given out here, you put it into actions, the lessons, and everything that we have a chance to consume. Let's take it in today. We want to also thank everyone behind the scenes. There's a whole team behind the camera, the directors, the cameramen and women. We also have the kitchen department.
Oh, yeah.
And is there anyone else left?
I think live audience.
Yes, the live audience, you is back at home. Remember, every Thursday at 7:30, the church and the state on Spirit Television. Keep it here, keep it locked. Keep the conversations going on our social media platform.